A small, round shape moves slowly through the midnight grass. It has a soft face, tiny black eyes, a nose twitching nervously in the dark. It looks harmless, the kind of creature you find in children's books, garden ornaments, and bedtime stories. But that is the mistake, because beneath that harmless face is one of the most underrated survival machines in the natural world. A mammal covered in thousands of sharp spines, a night hunter that can roll itself into a living fortress, an animal with a strange resistance to some snake venoms, a creature that sometimes chews strong, bitter, even toxic substances into foam, and deliberately smears that foam across its own body. When I first read about this behavior, I had to stop, because this is not the version of the hedgehog most of us were taught. We were taught to see something cute, clumsy, fragile. But in the dark, the hedgehog becomes something else. Not a cartoon, not a garden decoration, not a helpless little animal waiting to be rescued. It becomes a tactical problem, a body designed around one simple question. What if the best way to survive was not to run, but to become impossible to bite? This is the story of the hedgehog, the tiny armored survivor hiding in plain sight. And to understand why predators hesitate before attacking it, we have to look past the garden myths and into the anatomy of a living trap. At first glance, a hedgehog's spine looks simple, just a little spike, a stiff hair, a natural pin. But when you look closer, it becomes something much more interesting. An adult European hedgehog can carry roughly 5,000 to 7,000 spines across its back. Each one is made of keratin, the same material found in human hair and fingernails. But these are not ordinary hairs. They are hardened, pointed, lightweight, built for defense. They cover the hedgehog's back like a miniature forest of spears, and that matters. Because the hedgehog is not fast. It cannot outrun a fox. It cannot overpower a badger. It cannot fly away from an owl. It cannot climb out of danger like a squirrel. So evolution gave it a different answer. Do not escape the attack. Change what the attack means. When danger approaches, the hedgehog does something almost architectural. A specialized muscle sheet under the skin contracts. Around the edges of the body, this muscular system tightens like a drawstring bag. The head pulls in, the legs vanish, the soft belly disappears, the vulnerable face is hidden, and the animal becomes a ball. Not perfectly impenetrable, not invincible, but painful, awkward, and difficult enough that many predators decide the meal is not worth the injury. Suddenly, there is no throat to crush, no belly to tear open, no easy grip, no obvious angle. Every attempt to bite meets a wall of spines. The predator expects flesh. It finds geometry. That is the genius of the hedgehog. It does not fight like a wolf. It does not flee like a deer. It does not intimidate like a bear. It survives by becoming a shape. And for millions of years, that shape worked. A fox may circle it. A dog may bark at it. An owl may hesitate. A badger may still be dangerous, because badgers are strong enough and skilled enough to attack hedgehogs successfully. But for many predators, the hedgehog is not easy prey. It is a mouthful of needles wrapped around a very small animal that refuses to cooperate. And yet, this defense creates a strange biological problem. If your best survival strategy is to close yourself inside a ball of spikes, how do you live? How do you hunt? How do you find food? How do you move through the world? Because the hedgehog is not just an armored object, it is a hunter. And when the fortress opens, a different animal appears. The hedgehog belongs to the night. By day, it hides in nests made from leaves, grass, roots, and whatever shelter it can find. Under hedges, beneath sheds, inside piles of dead leaves, in the forgotten corners of gardens where the human world becomes messy enough for wild things to survive. But when the sun goes down, it wakes. And then the soft little garden animal becomes a predator of the leaf litter. It does not hunt with speed. It hunts with persistence. Its eyesight is not the main weapon. Its nose is. That constant snuffling sound hedgehogs make in the dark is not cute background noise. It is search behavior. It is a living detector sweeping the ground for movement, scent, moisture, and food. Earthworms, beetles, caterpillars, earwigs, millipedes, slugs, snails, insect larvae. The hedgehog moves through the garden like a small biological vacuum cleaner, pulling protein out of the soil and the undergrowth. It may also eat fallen fruit, carrion, eggs, and other available scraps when it finds them. It is not picky. It cannot afford to be. A hedgehog's life is built around nights of searching, feeding and traveling through a landscape that is much larger than most people imagine. The animal that looks so slow on your lawn may travel long distances in a single night, crossing gardens, hedgerows, roads, fences, fields, and patches of broken habitat. And in that dark world, it sometimes meets something most small mammals avoid at all costs: venom. This is where the hedgehog stops being merely interesting and becomes genuinely strange, because hedgehogs have a long and complicated relationship with snakes. They are known to attack and eat small snakes, and in some cases they may confront venomous species such as European vipers. Now, this is where we have to be careful. The hedgehog is not magically immune to venom. That is the myth. A serious bite can still injure it. A bad bite to the face or limbs can still be dangerous. A heavy dose can still kill. But the hedgehog does appear to have something many small mammals do not: resistance. Researchers have found that European hedgehog blood plasma contains factors that can neutralize some of the damaging effects of European viper venom, especially the tissue-damaging and hemorrhagic activity that makes these venoms so destructive. In simple terms, the venom can still hurt, but some of its worst effects may be blunted, and that changes the balance of power. For a mouse or a vole, a viper strike can be catastrophic. For a hedgehog, the same encounter may not end the same way. The snake strikes. The hedgehog lowers its head. The spines come forward like a visor. The fangs may hit needles instead of flesh. Sometimes the strike lands. Sometimes venom enters the body, and still the hedgehog may continue. Not because it is fearless, not because it is invincible, but because its body is better prepared for this chemistry than it has any right to be. That is what makes the hedgehog so fascinating. It is not protected by one system. It is protected by layers. The first layer is behavioral. Curl up, wait, refuse to expose the soft body. The second layer is physical. Thousands of sharp spines. The third layer is chemical. A resistance that may help it survive venom that would be devastating to many animals its size. A predator can bite and get hurt. A snake can strike and still not guarantee victory. And suddenly, this small, slow animal moving through the grass starts to look less like prey and more like a problem. But the hedgehog's relationship with chemicals does not end with venom. It has another behavior. And this one is so strange that even after decades of observation, biologists still debate exactly what it means. Every now and then, a hedgehog finds something unusual. A strong-smelling plant, a pungent chemical, a bitter object, a dead animal, a toad, a cigarette end, a piece of leather, even something humans have left behind in the garden. Then the hedgehog begins to chew, not casually, obsessively. It works the substance in its mouth, mixing it with saliva until a thick, white foam forms around its lips. Then it twists. The body bends in a way that looks almost impossible for such a round animal. The head reaches backward. The tongue stretches over the shoulder. The foam is smeared across the spines. Again and again, the hedgehog paints itself. This behavior is called self-anointing. The first time you see it, it looks almost disturbing. Like the animal has been poisoned, or confused, or caught in some strange compulsive ritual. But it is not random. It is deliberate. The hedgehog is taking something from the outside world, processing it in its mouth, and spreading it across its armor. The question is why? And the honest answer is, we do not fully know. There are several theories. One possibility is scent camouflage. By coating itself in strong environmental smells, the hedgehog may be hiding its own scent from predators. In a world where foxes and badgers hunt largely through smell, masking your scent could matter. Another possibility is parasite defense. A hedgehog's spines create a dense, warm, protected forest over the skin. That forest can hold ticks, fleas, mites, parasites. If some of the substances hedgehogs chew have irritating or toxic properties, self-anointing might help make the skin and spines less comfortable for parasites. But there is another possibility, a darker one: weapon enhancement. Imagine being a predator and biting a hedgehog. The spines already puncture the mouth and gums. But now those spines may also be coated in a bitter, irritating chemical paste made from saliva and whatever strange substance the hedgehog found in its environment. The bite is no longer just painful. It is disgusting, irritating, memorable. The predator may survive the mistake, but it may not make it twice. We cannot ask the hedgehog what it is doing. We can only watch the behavior and admit that this animal is more complicated than it looks. Because self-anointing transforms the hedgehog from a passive ball of spikes into something stranger, an animal that may be modifying its own armor, taking chemistry from the environment and turning it into part of its defense. That is not the behavior people imagine when they see a hedgehog on a birthday card. But the real hedgehog was never built for cuteness. It was built for survival. And survival, in the wild, is rarely pretty. There is another side to the hedgehog's survival system that most people never see. Winter. For a small mammal, winter is not just cold. It is mathematics. Food disappears. Insects vanish. The ground hardens. Energy becomes everything. A hedgehog cannot simply keep hunting through the worst months and hope for the best, so it does something more radical. It slows itself down. During hibernation, a hedgehog's body enters a state that looks almost like suspended life. Its temperature drops, its breathing slows, its heartbeat falls dramatically, its metabolism sinks to a fraction of its normal rate. The animal that spent autumn eating as much as it could now survives on stored fat, hidden inside a nest, waiting for the world to become edible again. This is another reason hedgehogs need messy places. Leaf piles, log piles, dense vegetation, undisturbed corners. To us, those places may look untidy. To a hedgehog, they can be the difference between waking up in spring and never waking at all. And this is where the story begins to change. Because for millions of years, the hedgehog's strategy made sense. Spines worked against teeth. Rolling up worked against claws. Venom resistance helped against snakes. Self-anointing may have helped against parasites and predators. Hibernation solved the winter problem. The hedgehog had a system, a slow, stubborn, ancient system. And then the world changed faster than the system could adapt. For a hedgehog, danger has a familiar shape. A fox, a dog, a badger, a snake, a sudden vibration in the grass, a shadow overhead. When danger comes, the ancient answer is simple. Stop. Curl up. Wait. Against a predator, that can work. Against a car, it is fatal. A hedgehog crossing a road at night does not understand headlights. It does not understand tires. It does not understand speed. It does not understand that the threat approaching it is not a mouth, not claws, not a living predator that can be discouraged by pain. Its body does what millions of years trained it to do. The muscle contracts, the head disappears, the spines rise, the animal becomes a ball. It waits for the threat to pass. But a tire does not care about spines. A road does not care about ancient design. And this may be the most tragic thing about the hedgehog. Its greatest defense became one of its greatest vulnerabilities in the human world. The same behavior that protected it from predators now leaves it exposed to machines. And roads are only part of the problem. The hedgehog is an animal of connected spaces. It needs to move from garden to garden, hedge to hedge, feeding ground to nesting site. Summer range to winter shelter, but modern landscapes break the world into pieces. Fences block movement, roads slice territories apart, pesticides reduce the insects and invertebrates hedgehogs depend on. Over-tidy gardens remove the leaf piles and wild corners where they shelter. Intensive farming strips away hedgerows and rough edges. To a hedgehog, a perfect modern garden can be a desert. Short grass, clean paving, no gaps, no insects, no shelter, no way through. The animal is still armored, but armor does not help when the food is gone. Armor does not help when every garden is sealed off from the next. Armor does not help against chemicals, traffic, and a landscape that has forgotten how to leave room for wild things. Across much of their range, European hedgehogs are under pressure. In 2024, the species was assessed as near threatened on the IUCN Red List after evidence of a significant decline across much of Europe. That should make us pause, because this is not a rare tropical species hidden in a remote rainforest. This is an animal that lives beside us, in our gardens, our parks, our hedgerows, our streets, and still, it is disappearing quietly. Not with a dramatic collapse that everyone sees, but garden by garden, road by road, fence by fence, night by night. The hedgehog is not losing to one enemy. It is losing to the shape of the world we built. And that is what makes its story so uncomfortable, because we are used to thinking of extinction as something that happens far away. Ice melting in the Arctic, forests burning in the Amazon, rhinos poached in distant reserves. But the hedgehog asks a more personal question. What happens when the wild animal in trouble is not somewhere else? What happens when it is moving through your garden at midnight? What happens when the battlefield is not a rainforest, but the gap under your fence? There is something almost symbolic about the hedgehog. It is small, quiet, nocturnal, easy to miss. It does not roar. It does not migrate across continents. It does not stand at the top of the food chain, but it carries an extraordinary design. Thousands of spines, venom resistance, a strange chemical ritual, a winter survival system, a body shaped by millions of years of pressure. And still, it now depends partly on whether humans leave a little space open. A hole in a fence, a pile of leaves, a pesticide-free corner, a garden that is not too clean, a road crossed safely, a moment of attention. That is the strange thing about this animal. It is tough enough to survive snakes, but vulnerable enough to need a gap under a garden fence. It is ancient enough to have survived worlds we will never see, but fragile enough to disappear from the places where children once saw it every summer. So the next time you see a hedgehog moving slowly through the grass, do not just see something cute. Look closer. See the armor. See the night hunter under the softness. See the thousands of spines that turn a small mammal into a fortress. See the strange resistance that may help it survive venom. See the animal that chews the chemistry of the world into foam and paints it across its own body. See the creature that turns fear into geometry. And see the tragedy too. Because the hedgehog is not weak, it is small. And those are not the same thing. For millions of years, it survived by becoming difficult to bite, difficult to poison, difficult to understand, and very easy to underestimate. But now it faces threats its body was never designed to solve. Not teeth, not claws, not venom, but roads, fences, pesticides, tidiness, fragmentation, the slow disappearance of wild edges. And maybe that is why this animal matters, because the hedgehog is a reminder that the wild has not completely left us. It is still here, snuffling under hedges, moving through the dark, searching the grass for beetles and worms, carrying an ancient survival system through the edges of our modern world, quietly, carefully, armored, underrated, and still here. For now. If this changed the way you see the creatures hiding in plain sight, then this is exactly why this channel exists. To look closer at the animals we think we already understand, subscribe for more deep wildlife stories, and tell me in the comments, what surprised you most about the hedgehog? The venom resistance, the armor, the self-anointing, or the fact that one of the toughest little survivors in nature now depends on the small choices we make in our own gardens? I'll see you in the next story.